Hello, hello. So I made some videos already, but I forgot to explain what I'm actually building. So let me explain the background of the whole project real quick. Chris from Pirate Logic and me wanted to make. Well, actually, 4 years ago, he wanted to listen to my loudspeakers, and he came over and he took with him his MFB woofers. I knew MFB from Philips, the old MFB loudspeakers, and I know they sound awesome in the low end. So he brought one of his smaller sets with him, and he wanted to listen to my planar magnetics back then. And well, we both liked each other's product, so we exchanged some materials, and then it was left on, somewhere standing. I still have woofers that I never used, although I gave them back, by the way, because he could use them. But after 4 years, we thought, let's try this again. And of course, stuff evolved in the meantime. So he had a nicer sub amp, or he has a sub amp, or made a sub amp prototype that I am using right now. And I made some different planar magnetics over the time span of 4 years. So I traded one of my prototypes for his prototypes. I can test his prototype, which could be useful as well for him. And I have a nice MFB subwoofer, and he has a nice planar magnetic Doublito panel, or panels. So that's the background story. So let me be clear about this. I didn't pay for this. He didn't pay for my stuff. We just traded it. And of course, it costs us money to make it, and especially time to make it. And we exchanged that we exchanged that. I got 2 of these sets, or in the future will be kits, and it will consist of not packed like this, of course, I unpacked it already, but it consists of a tiny plate amp with MFB control and settings. It's class D. It's not a huge amount of power. It's not like the subwoofers you see today, like 400 watts, 1 kilowatt, whatever. This is far less. I believe it is 75 or 100 watts in this region. But I got 2, which adds 6 dB. So if you compare it to a 200 watt amplifier and woofer, I still have 3 dB more output because I have 2 woofers. So for me, it's more than enough. I mean, I've heard his small sets, like the tiny speaker, and it has a lot of low end. Then the grown up has, tons of low ends for my use. And this does the same, except the woofer is even, I believe, a little bit bigger even. And I got 2, so more than enough. So yeah, that and this beast. Yeah. So it's kind of it's a huge thing. Nice, this is very nice. The cone itself looks very nice as well, because he removed this dust cap and put the fucking hell, I hate this word. Accelerometer, fucking hell. Well, you know what I mean. Behind the coil, or on the coil behind the dust cap. What I not liking that much, but still fine, I don't care all that much, is this seal, because this is so very nicely done. They should have ditched this, but in the end it doesn't really matter. It will be behind a front with fabric anyways, but yeah, so it's quite a hefty thing. So there's 1 wire for the power, and there's 1 wire for sensing what the coil or what the woofer does, and then this thing will correct what the cone does. So you will end up with pretty much, depending on how you adjust this, you could get 25 hertz out of a rather tiny box without a bass port or bass reflex, so it sounds like a closed box as well. Of course, that will cost a little bit more power. And there is correction. So if the woofer is doing things that it doesn't supposed to be doing, this will correct it. To a point, of course, but it lowers distortion. And a small LED for indicating that it's powered. Not sure if I'm gonna use the LED yet, but that's, well, real quick, what I'm gonna use. And I got 2 of these kits. They're not available yet from Pirate Logic. That's why it says still Servo Labs, Servo Sub, which is the other website of him where he sells the complete loudspeakers. But Pirate Logic, in the future, will have this kit. The woofer itself with the accelerometer is already available. I forgot the price, but it was like 200 something. I don't know. But the complete kit will be around, because, you know, it's still not 100% clear. But he said probably around 450 a kit. So yeah, so I wanted to make a nice housing for it, and that's what this video is about. The design itself I posted on Facebook in Extreme DIY Audio. It's gonna be the cheap way, but the most laborsome way of making a loudspeaker, even with a CNC. It's based on what I had laying around. But well, let's jump into the making of the parts. Maybe I'll put an image in there of what the design should be looking. Well, should be in the end, but it's a SketchUp design, so it's not looking very nice. So I'd rather not display that. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. Anyhow, that's the introduction. I'm gonna use these parts, and then I'm gonna make a cabinet for it. And hopefully in the end, maybe, hopefully, before the next year, or the end of this year, I can listen to some real MFB low end with my planers. So that would be 60 Hertz and down, maybe even to 20 Hertz. I don't know, depending. I don't hear 20 Hertz, so maybe 25 Hertz. Okay, let's go for it. Make some dust. Well, as you could see, it was not the most, it took 90 minutes, around 90 minutes with screwing it down. I could shave off 5 minutes of that, I think. Because they are not all that nice, actually. You can see that the bit kind of, I think it became blunt or something. Here it is sharpish, and then it becomes more ragged. Might be the wood grain as well, I'm not sure. It's an upcut bit, as you can see, because it rips the wood upwards. So probably the other side looks clean. But for my purposes it doesn't really matter, so I don't care. I could use a sander now. That would be the fastest method. But I think the screws might be a problem, sitting in the way. Well, anyhow, I used a ramp, and it's the way the cutter goes into the wood. Normally it plunges down and then starts its thing. I had a ramp, so it goes sideways. Usually it's a bit nicer on the cutter and leaves a better finish. Now you can also do this when it comes out of the wood again, and I did that, but I forgot to fill in the angle it should do that. And what it does then is it just goes around the whole thing, and in that time that it goes all around, it goes up. So the actual the actual cutting time was doubled by that. So I have to fix that. But before I do, I'll see if all these pieces are useful at all. Oh, it's cold, 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 cold. Here, it teared up really badly. I've never had this problem. Maybe the cutters I use right now are Chinesium and they looked, even the packaging, exactly the same as the ones I've had before. Well, this doesn't look like quality to me. Let's see, the other side though is clean, also from this one. So maybe the upcut part is a bit too aggressive and rips off the top layer or splinters it, which is not very nice. So now I did not cut the MDF parts yet, so I have to see if I have a leftover piece somewhere that I can fit in there. Oops. What's this? Is this 15? This might be 18. No, it actually is 15. So there's your problem already. Get the fuck off. This will be so fucking annoying if this does not fit. By the looks of it, it doesn't. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna measure it. Oh dear. Did I? Oh fucking hell. Maybe it's my own fault when I think of it. Yes, it appears to be. God damn it. I believe the cutters are 4mm instead of 5. Let's check that. Always double check your stuff. Especially if your name is Job Pelen. So, I know where the confusion comes from. I had these bits exactly the same. And they were 5. Or maybe they were not 5, but somehow I thought they were 5mm. They are actually 4. So, well, it cuts everything, except the whole thing is a little bit bigger. And like the spaces where wood should be possible to fit in, these are actually smaller. So I was measuring, I was like, what the fuck? This should be 15.5 or something, and this is 14 point something. Well, probably 14.5, which is, yeah, as you might expect if you use a 4mm cutter while you programmed for 5mm. It leaves 0.5 mm on each side. So now it's too small. And now I ruined half a sheet. Which is exactly what I was scared of. And I double checked the program yesterday. But if you do not check what kind of cutter you're using, or at least if you think it is a 5mm and did not check it and it's actually a 4mm, well, that screws things up. So I looked around and the confusion is because I did buy 5mm ones for my last project because I ran out of these. Well, not exactly these, the 5mm versions of these. And this is the one I bought to finish the demo pair. Because I was in a hurry and I wanted to finish it. And I could not wait for a shipment from China. So this one was really expensive. But I only have one. Which makes it a no-go for me to use these. Because I know myself, I probably break one during the project. And then I have the same problem as I have before. That I do not have replacements. So I have to fix the program for using 4mm and redo this whole thing. At least I can say, well, I don't like the finish anyway, so I'll redo it. That's an option. I could have said that instead of saying that I really fucked up. Anyhow, I had some other cutters here that are also 4mm. Maybe I'll try these. These look a bit better than this one. Maybe it's less aggressive than these, and leave a better finish. Although it doesn't really matter. I mean, they will be glued on top of each other, but still. These ones scream. I believe these scream pretty hard as well. At least I have to change the program for using 4mm instead of 5. So now I got some wood I can light on fire for New Year's night, because I needed some wood. So it's not all waste, it's just really expensive, or at least for me, pretty expensive firewood. I bet it burns pretty nice. All chopped down to small usable pieces. So I'm gonna redo the program, gonna use the 4mm bit and try again. And hopefully it works out. Now question is, should I do only 1 or 2 instead of half a sheet? Nah, we're gonna do a half a sheet and maybe we find out I forgot something else. Well, I'm not gonna make the same mistake twice, so I'll just remove 1 and see how it looks. By the looks of the edge is already nicer, and it's, yeah, so this is packing the material quite nicely. So it has a, you see, stuff is still in there. This has a less aggressive upcut angle, which keeps all this crap in here, so it holds the material even without screws. And the edge, if it ever focuses, it has a bit trouble. Look at my hands, nice coloring. It's not that worse, terrible. It's the camera is being weird, but hardly any breakout. So this is a way nicer bit. It does make a lot of noise, terrible noise. So I'll take this one inside and see if it fits the 15mm MDF. Boom. So this time it looks clean, much cleaner. Still some ribs thingies here. So it might be that it's cutting a bit too aggressive. It's a 1 flute, so surface finish could be nicer if I go a little bit slower. So if you compare it to the other one, you can see it is all around 0.5 mm thicker, the old one, and a lot of chips and such. Okay, so now the test. This is 15, and it's what I'm going to use for this piece here. So this should fit. It fits. Pretty tight fit still. This should fit as well. And here it should be possible to fit 2 pieces of 15. Gonna use a whole sheet then to test fit. So this and this together. Ow. That fits as well. quite a snug fit. Do I change that? No, I reckon I'm fine. So all the pieces fit. Cool. So I can unscrew the gazillion pieces and do another sheet. And then I reckon I have slightly not enough material to make 4 batches, which sucks. Means I have to go to the hardware store maybe. Very small chance I can get it from leftover pieces. Who knows? I hope I'm able to, because I hate going to the hardware store because I have to go by bike and it's minus something, and today you cannot even walk normally outside. You will fall. So, well, I'm going to the shed and do another 2 batches at least. So, much better. So, this only needs a bit of sanding, but yeah, much better color. So I made well, almost 60 of these. I needed 80 for 2 sets, but I ran out of wood because I screwed up the first one. So what I'll do, I might be making 1 first, which is tricky because it's a bit like the small things you have to do in your house to make it like finished, and then you'll leave it forever. But in this case, it has gives me an opportunity to maybe, instead of 18 high, like this high, I might add 2 more. Maybe a bit like this. I think it's a better ratio. I'm not sure about the ratio, because of course it needs a top and a bottom, but still it should be a little bit taller for my eye at least. So I milled enough material for 3 sides, so 2 sides for each subwoofer, and well, if I have to get wood anyways, I'll just use a few extra to make it taller, and then I'll get some new wood if I make the second subwoofer. Yeah. I have to figure out if the mini DSP has a possibility of joining left and right to one channel for using 1 sub. I think it's possible because the 4K10 HD has a routing page, so I think I could route left and right to the same fader. I hope, at least. If not, that would be quite stupid, and they should add that, because it is quite useful. I think it has, but I'll have to look it up. Anyhow, yeah, I got enough material for at least 1 subwoofer, and I can even play around with it. The MDF of 15mm that will fit in here and there. I might shave it off a little bit on the belt grinder to make it fit a little bit easier, because, well, in the end, to fit all of this is gonna be quite a lot of work, and a mistake is made quite easily, and then one of these will stick out or whatever. Things do not fit anymore. So I have to glue all of these with the stuff in place, because otherwise I'm pretty sure you make a mistake somewhere along the way and you cannot get the 15mm MDF in there. Yay! So these will be the sides. It's quite interesting if you look at this side. So here's the baffle. The baffle's gonna sit in here. Here there's just a divider that holds the magnet of the woofer, because the magnet is quite huge, and if you drop the subwoofer or something or whatever, the magnet might fall off, which is not ideal. This is gonna be the back side, closing the woofer from the electronics, and here there's gonna be a piece of wood that holds the plate amp. Now this works out quite decent, but it's harder as you might think to assemble this. I have to think about it quite, you know, I have to think about how to do it, because you can still assemble it like this, like shift it over a little bit. If you do, then the whole thing will not work if you put it together. And it's like, it's all crooked. So I thought maybe I screw a piece of wood on here so I can like push it this way. So this will be flat at least. And maybe a piece of wood here. So it will be square, because that's kind of a thing. There is play in this. So you can get it real nice, but you can also fuck it up. I mean, these rods help, but if you want to be able to put these rods in, you have to have some play. So they are kind of the same height, which is important. It's about, well, no, they're the same height. So yeah, so that works. Because otherwise one of them will be higher, which is kind of stupid. I put it like... Shit. Oh. No, I had to do it like this. I put it on the table to see how the form will be, kind of. They're quite wide. Quite a wide sub. Well, at least I like... normally I like this rounding off thing, but then, you know, not as wide. But the woofer itself is quite... It's an 8-inch woofer, so there has to be some room. Where is... So this piece that comes here is like almost 26.6, something like this. This is 145. This is way too large somehow. Huh. Kind of hard to get correct. Looks kind of weird. I have to maybe... Well, it's something like this. It's standing crooked right now, but you see it's quite a... I don't know if it's a massive subwoofer. I mean, by choosing the way I do it, it becomes larger than just a square box. Especially wider. Something I don't like. I added 2 more pieces than in the original design. So actually it should be this high. But I thought that looked stupid. So I added 2 more. And then of course a top side and a bottom side, which are gonna be 18 millimeters, I think. That means I have to buy just a sheet for the top and bottom. Which is annoying, but... And then the top sheet will have the... Let me think. No, it's gonna be sideways, the grain. Because otherwise I cannot get 4 pieces out of one sheet, because it's a quite awkward, annoying size. My first instinct is to have the grain like this. But that's not gonna happen, because then I have to buy 2 sheets and have to throw away half of it. So that's like 40 euros for just, you know, the top and bottom, which is ridiculous, I think. But this method was quite fast, actually. In the end, the machine did 18 of these, so one of these sides, in 14 minutes or 13. So not bad at all. Pretty good. Quite efficient wood-wise. Compared to doing the whole thing in layers. That's gonna be really expensive. And as well, I use 12mm thick wood, which is, of course, if you want to save time, you choose the thickest you can get. But this is what I had laying around. If you do it with 18, that will save you even more time. Yeah. The MDF fits in these places, but it's quite hard. Like a really tight fit. Might not even need glue, but when I cut the MDF pieces, I probably will sand it down a little bit so it goes in a little bit easier, because yeah, this space is not 2 times 15, but it's 30.5, because I know not all MDF is the same, and glue is also at thickness. But I should have taken more space. Was a gamble. But I know for the next time now, make this wider, just in case. You can fill the rest with glue. But yeah, next time around. Yeah, cool. Gonna put those away. And I'm looking forward to the whole thing being finished and sanding, because sanding is nice. It looks nice. Bye bye.